Welcome to the Wednesday meditation, the night before Thanksgiving. Many of you are probably just staying home and having a private little Thanksgiving gathering, maybe with a few people. It's a different time. I don't think we've ever experienced anything like this before in this lifetime, at least my lifetime. And we just always have to think about how blessed we are, and that's what tomorrow should be, is just being in a state of saying thank you for everything that we have on this planet. And it's our opportunity to say also that we're going to do everything we can to protect this planet and all that lives on it. Get into a consciousness of sharing. So I'm going to do a call and response chant, and I'll do the first time through with the line, and then you can repeat it, and I'll repeat it with you so that you don't feel alone. It's like we used to have a lot of people here, and you'd hear the response. And it's really hard to not hear a response, so I will be singing with you. Those people at home, just sing with us. Go within, go within, go Shalom, 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 shalom. God within is always present. 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 Shalom, 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 shalom. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe out, breathe out, breathe in, breathe in, breathe out, breathe out. No peace, no peace, no peace, no peace. Shalom, 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 shalom. Source of all life is always present. 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 Shalom, shalom, shalom. Be still, be still, feel God, feel God, be still, be still, feel God, feel God. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Divine force is always present. 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 Shalom, 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 shalom. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe out, breathe out. Shalom, 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 shalom.
Good evening, everyone. Well, we are still here. Unity of Boulder is still here, in spite of all the strange and challenging things that have taken place this year. But thanks to you, our members, who are tithing to support the ministry and the work that goes on here, we're still capable of moving on, keeping on, and doing what we do. None of us are getting rich, but we are rich in spirit and thankful, very thankful, that even though most of you are at home viewing these services and classes that we do, you are still tithing to take care of us here, keep this Unity of Boulder ministry going. You know, Thanksgiving is a day each year that we're reminded to be thankful. And it's interesting because most of us have enough to be thankful for. I remember a minister who gave a talk back when I was going to school. He and his wife had adopted a third world child who was like about 6 years old, but had come from I don't know where it was, a country where they had nothing. I think this young boy was in an orphanage there. And so they brought him into their home. They adopted him. He came into their home and was living with them for a short period of time. And at that time, he wasn't a minister, but he said, okay, on Sunday rolled around and said, okay, we're all going to get dressed up and we're going to go to church. And the little boy said, well, what do you do in your church? And he said, oh, well, we pray. And the little boy said to him, for what? You have everything. I mean, they had a moderate home and a car, and, you know, they had 3 meals a day. And that's not what he had. He had nothing. He had, you know, the clothes on his back. That was about it. So when they said they were going to pray, he was wondering what they were praying for, because they had everything from his point of view that you could possibly want. Life should be great. It's an interesting phenomenon that we can look at ourselves and chuckle to ourselves. Really, we should chuckle to ourselves at some of the things that upset us, because we have so much. Most of us do. It's a little different today. Today we have people that are really in dire need of things, just the basics. And it's heartrending to see that in this country, the most affluent, wealthiest country in the world, we have lines and lines of people that have to pick up a food portion, provisions, food provisions, waiting in lines for hours and hours and hours to go and get a box of food or a bag of food. In America. In America. This is, you know, in Unity, we hardly ever say, we don't use the word wrong. And we surely seldom use the word sin unless we're explaining it. But in America, for people to be in need of food, that they have to go get a box of food, they have to wait online to get a box of food to feed their family. Let me be the first to say unequivocally, that is wrong. And if there's anything that you could define as sin, that is sin. We have all of these politicians who, by measure, financially, live opulent lives. And they can't bring themselves around to make an agreement because of their political affiliations. They can't bring themselves around to create another stimulus package to help these unfortunate people who are in need. You will forgive me for expressing from the three-dimensional point of view here at first. I will move into my usual fifth-dimensional point of view, in which I live and carry on my life of peace, joy, happiness, and giving. But right now, it's hard to watch, especially when you think about the money we spend on elections and the money we spend on armament. This is egregious. So, we have our food barrels that we put out every day. We've been collecting a lot of food. People have been very good. And when they go to the store, they buy a few things for other people. They put them in our barrels. We collect all this food and we bring it over to the food pantry over there that distributes it to families that are in need. And this is taking place all over America, in cities all over America. It shouldn't be taking place all over America, but it is. So Thanksgiving is a day every year that we're reminded to be thankful. But you know, when you get into the essential truth of the higher dimensions. And when you arrive there, you realize something that you really didn't know fully. At least it was for me. It was like, wow, this is interesting and beautiful. Thanksgiving is a state of mind. It's a state of gratitude that continues. There's no, some gratitude here and then it's gone, or I have gratitude now because this is going on, but it's gone later. It's none of that. It doesn't fluctuate. Once you enter into knowing the truth, fully knowing the truth so that you are now focused on living the truth, you will feel gratitude and you will see beauty and harmony and wonderful things, even in the difficult, the problematic, even in the terrible, like people needing food and waiting online to get some for a day or a week. But you'll see that, and it will draw the compassion into the appreciation for that higher dimension which will deliver everyone to a prosperity that cannot be measured. But it becomes an ongoing state of mind so that you are appreciative for what you have. And here's the interesting thing about that state of mind when you arrive in it. You have appreciation for what you have, all that you have. And it may not be as much as what other people have, but you know it's enough. So you feel appreciation. It's a beautiful feeling. But you'll also be appreciative of what you don't have. You'll be able to see maybe other people that have things that you don't have. And you'll appreciate the fact that you are living this appreciation and you don't even need that. You don't have any wants or needs like that. So it's great to feel appreciation. And you have appreciation for those people that are getting things that they would like to have and need. Because you feel your oneness with all of life, and you recognize that it is sacred. Appreciation is a state of consciousness that allows you to realize the sacredness of life. We were all given life. And whether or not we've made, certain gains from a material perspective or spiritual perspective or not, just the very fact that we have life and we can reflect upon life is a miracle. And we should have appreciation for that miracle. And when you finally get beyond the insanity of those who are all locked up in the illusions of the world, when you get beyond that, you just let them be. Because you know that their illusions will bring them eventually to an awakening, that their suffering is self-imposed, just as greed is self-imposed suffering. The one thing that you cannot get too much of in life is balance. And you have to be careful on the spiritual journey as you're going along. There's a place on the spiritual journey where you no longer have any concerns because you're God conscious and you feel joy and appreciation. But until you get there and you're doing the practices, you have to be careful not to want too much. It's okay to have goals and dreams and aspirations and seek to improve your lot in life on a physical level, but you shouldn't really be overwhelmed when you're not getting what you think you need to be fulfilled. And I'll tell you, even something like self-esteem. You maybe grew up with parents all involved in the idea of self-esteem. And, you were in the Little League or something, and all they wanted you to do was win. Winning was everything. The team had to win. You had to get that trophy at the end of the year, and on and on and on. So it was all this stuff that they were, programming you to see and believe in, that winning was so important, because with winning you were getting attention, and you were mistaking that attention for love, true love. And so you kept seeking more and more attention. But you see, what happens, there's nothing wrong with self-esteem. But you can get to a point where your need for more self-esteem will drive you to a place of deterioration, where you will be willing to sacrifice good conscience, integrity, happiness, peace. You'll sacrifice those things for winning. Winning. Be careful. When you're raising your children, don't do it. Don't overdo that. Let them understand balance. Let them understand how to give and feel the joy of giving, along with gaining self-esteem and prowess and building their abilities in the sporting fields or on musical instruments or on, academic subjects, whatever it is that works for them to feel, oh, I'm doing a good job. That's great. So don't get to the place where that becomes a driving necessity, as some people do. And you quite often see this with young children in gymnastics. And their parents have driven them beyond. And all those young children know is winning. And there's a feeling of loss and depression when they're not capable of doing that. So balance is a very important word in our development here in the world. We need to keep an eye on balance, because there is for, this overachieving consciousness, this desire to have more than you actually need at any given time. It leads to an anxiety, and it leads to a depression, and it leads to deterioration of conscience. I think there was a while back where, and I'm talking decades back, where the ongoing pop psychology was that don't be overly concerned about conscience. It just makes you upset, makes you guilty. Actually, no. The only time we feel guilty is when we violate the still small guiding voice of conscience. Conscience itself doesn't make you feel guilty. It makes you feel good that you're in touch with life, not just your own separate ego-centered life, but with life in general. You're in touch with that, and you see a need here or there that you can fulfill or help fulfill. That's the still small voice of God. That's your conscience saying, hey, you could do something here. You could give a little more here. And so on and so forth. So the balance is necessary. We have to be awake enough to see ourselves when we become personally driven to get something we absolutely think in the world is going to make us, happy and free, totally free. We'll finally make that money, or we'll get that popularity, or whatever it is we've designed in our heads is going to do it. But the only thing that's ever going to make us free is entering into the higher dimension of our soul awareness. There's nothing wrong with doing all this stuff, even while you're doing the spiritual practice, to transcend the limitations of the world thinking process. There's nothing wrong with pursuing your goals, dreams, demands, improving your life. It's when that becomes the driving force in your consciousness to a place where you are surrendering good conscience and surrendering integrity, and you're doing things that you really, your soul really wouldn't want you to do. That's why introspection, meditation every day, is a very healthy thing, because it opens us up to hear that still small voice of God, reminding us of our divine calling. And that divine calling holds us in relationship to every other living person and everything in life. That's our divine calling. And at some point, we have our resurrection from strictly world thinking, and we enter into divine awareness. At that point, we're living in appreciation. We're living above the changing tides and circumstances of the material world. What it does this way or that way, whether it blesses us today or doesn't, has no effect whatsoever at some point on your joy, because your joy comes from being wholly aware of your interconnectedness with everything, and it is so beautiful because it is all sacred, and it is all moving to eventually express the sacred presence of a living, loving God. That's of all life is moving toward that, whether you know it or not. And all of those that have gone or made themselves insane, pursuing that which can never fulfill them, they will become more and more unhappy and distressed. You know why? Because you can't win all the time. There's that thought that you could, but you can't. And when you don't win, and that is your life goal, winning, then the anxiety sets in. Then the depression sets in. So, balance. Spend some time every day in quiet introspection, meditation, affirmative prayer, and giving. Open up to that. Open up to giving. Edgar Cayce said it very clearly about this truth that we are embracing and attempting to enter into fully, completely, and consciously. This is an excerpt from the Edgar Cayce Companion. This is on page 323 and 324. This is the sleeping prophet. He is a man that lived in two worlds, a man that could do things that other human beings could not do. This is him speaking. It has ever been and is, even in materiality, a reciprocal world. As you would that others should do to you, do ye then unto them. That's not just a saying, but a law. If you would have love, you must show yourself loving. If you would have friends, you must show yourself friendly. If you would have peace and harmony, forget self and make peace and harmony the goal in your associations with all others. In Jeremiah, the book of Jeremiah, chapter 32, verse 38, if you will be my people, I will be your God. And you could add in there these few words, if you will be my people in the service of love, I will be your God. So I'll read that again. In other words, when the mind fully absorbs this truth and enters into it completely, and it becomes the priority lesson, then you will know ongoing appreciation. It has ever been and is, even in materiality, a reciprocal world. As ye would that others should do to you, do ye to them, is not just a saying, but a law. If you would have love, you must show yourself loving. If you would have friends, you must show yourself friendly. If you would have peace and harmony, forget self and make peace and harmony the goal in your associations with all others. And then Jeremiah 32, verse 38, if you will be my people in the service of love, I will be your God. This is where all of the trauma and conflict takes place in people. And you have that which has taken place big time in a very wealthy society of ours, where people have lost touch with their fellow neighbor. They've lost touch with loving their neighbor as themselves, which is the same as the first commandment, which is loving God. So those two great commandments were given by the Master of Life. Love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength, with all your soul. And then everybody says, okay, that's cool. And then he said, and the second commandment is just like it. Love your neighbor as yourself, because your neighbor is yourself. That's where our consciousness has to get to, knowing that fully and completely. And then we will be overwhelmed with appreciation for the sacred truth that we have for such a long time ignored in our lives. The media is very powerful, you know, the news media and the movie industry and the record industry and the money world. It's very powerful to beguile us to think there's a way to find happiness in the material world, and you, along the way, doesn't matter, you surrender the idea of there's a greater intelligence and a greater love calling you to enter into this higher level of appreciation. So on this Thanksgiving Day, tomorrow, this would be an interesting thing to do. In your morning meditation, give thanks and appreciation for all of your friends and all of your family members. Just bring them to mind and send them thanks and appreciation. And also those you dislike. Bring them to mind and send them thanks and appreciation as well, because they are also your brothers and your sisters in the one intelligence, which is God. Tonight we're going to meditate, withdraw our thinking from the concerns of the world, and just relax and enjoy being present in this moment, this beautiful, sacred moment. So we'll do that by listening to this beautiful crystal bowl and allowing the energy just to flow through us. We're going to get to a place of silence. If you don't have a particular meditation technique, you can use this particular mantra. It's like a prayer. It's a series of thoughts you just gently focus your mind on. Everything I look upon, everything I see is only God looking at me. Let us take a few moments to pray for those whose names have been submitted to our prayer list. As Norma calls the name, just let the thought, one in love, go forth to the name. If you know the person, see the image of that person. One in love.
Joel Goodman, Grace Goodman, Paige Mead and mother, William Dock, Rebecca Hartman, Marina Posnick, Lloyd and Sharon, John Landry, Flora Belmore, Sandy Spahn, Brandy Gamlin, Lynn Covey, Sharon White, Matt White, Natalie Suchka, Noelle White, Betty Barford, Marilyn Lehman, Jay and Allie Goodell, Maya Cunningham and family, Gail Wagner, Steve Taylor, Kate Beltrami, Sandy Perko, Daniel Rivard, Shad Dell, Robert Learman, Orenia, Dan James, Annie and Ivan, all COVID patients, all COVID health care workers, Christine, Sabina, Suzanne, air, the water, the earth, all life on planet Earth. And you could call out a name at this time if you would like to. Marina Posniak, you see this healing light surrounding the prayer box and all the people's names that have been submitted throughout the month. We see them healed physically, mentally, and spiritually.
So let us take a moment to reflect upon the new heaven and the new earth that will be one and the same as humanity grows up in its consciousness to accept its interconnectedness with everything that lives, which is there by virtue of a benevolent loving God. And as we see this light permeating the consciousness of every human being and all creatures on planet Earth, we pray the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And God is love. To this we say, Amen. 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 We will take an offering now. And for those of you that may be in the sanctuary, I can't see very many people, but whoever you are out there, you can make an offering in the basket in the lobby or using the dip jars with your credit card in the lobby. And those of you who are watching on screen, whether you're watching on live stream or YouTube or Facebook or whatever you're watching on screen this service, you can contact unityofboulder.com, info@unityofboulder.com, and you'll find a way there to make a donation if you'd like to support this ministry. So as we take this offering to mind, what we would like to give to support Unity of Boulder, let's bless it with this offering statement. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is.
I am thankful for each breath I take is a miracle of life. I am thankful for each breath I take is a miracle of life.
Thank you for tuning in with us. Have a happy, healthy Thanksgiving. Good night.